Welcome to the Aftermath. Let's begin this adventure with Dungeons and Dragons. Why I started off with Dungeons and Dragons is it's been my passion. I've been a dungeon master for 16 years, going on 17, and it's just been so much fun. I've created a campaign that has lasted for 16 years, and I have created characters upon characters, and I have had players upon players and upon players. In the beginning, I went by the book, and I mean directly by the book, word by word, in the 3.5 edition. And if any people know about 3.5, it was one of the better systems, but it was the most complex system there was. And I really loved it because you could do anything. You wanted to ask how much did a arrow weigh? You could find that in the books. Did you want to know how much a piece of butter cost? You could find that out as well. So I went off on that, played for about 4 years. Then I decided, hey, I want to make my own homebrew, set up some systems, and be able to have people come in and play who have never played at all, and be able to pick up a piece of paper, make a character, and just have fun. So I made homebrew rules, and I began a story that lasted a while. I went off of the story that I had when I was doing 3.5, but I changed up the rules, made more characters and everything. The biggest thing was I had generations. A campaign lasting for more than 16 years is definitely going to have generations and people who leave, come in, come back, create characters, and everything. So right now, including like a Generation 0 from right when it began, I have 7 generations. From the beginning where it was just me, a good friend of mine from high school and middle school, a girl that I was dating, and her brother, sitting in my basement and my good friend's basement every Friday with pizza for 4 years. That's Generation 0. How it began to go off into other generations, I made other friends who liked D&D as well. I made groups that would want to have fun. And my original Generation 0, some people went off to college, some of them went off to other states, and some of them just kind of disappeared. But I was always the dungeon master. So when Generation 1 hit, it was a whole new group of people. It was a friend of mine from high school who I know as QB. A girl who was almost like a sister to me. This younger guy, at that time he was around 14, and James, a good friend of mine. He's gone now. I think he's up in or down in Texas doing some media production stuff. But besides that, I had their generation. Their generation lasted about a year to a year and a half. So all I know is that was one of my shorter ones, and then they disbanded. QB stayed, and he went into the other generation. How I go from generation to generation is if more than 70% of the group leaves and more people come in, it becomes a new generation. Going into Gen 2, Gen 2 was actually an online generation only. I had a few of those only because I met people from Alabama, I met people from Florida, California, just New York right down the road from me, and everything. But those were online only, and that's where I had to really push systems for actual, I want to say, trustworthy, and to make sure that no one could lie. So I developed certain systems that would force people to be truthful and also take rolling out of the concept but not fully out. So I developed more storytelling. That group, I want to say, lasted 4 years, yeah. And the main reason why it lasted 4 years was because we did it every day. We were online. I was players for other campaigns. It was just a lot of fun. And we did so many different things, and that's how I became more of a storyteller. Gen 3 and 4 mix and match. They go from one to another. So I count them as 2 different, but they were really one. They were in person and out of person, online and offline. They had 2 different character groups. They had 2 different things. So Gen 3, the meet with us meeting lasted 2 years, and their characters really developed in person, because it's always great to be in person. But the storytelling got more intense online. And the online aspect lasted, I want to say, a year. But year, give or take a few months. But then I went on not a hiatus, but a month or 2-month hiatus where I didn't have a group. Didn't have a D&D group or anything until I got to these group of friends that were Gen 5. They were from my college up in upstate New York. And this is where I learned a lot about D&D and a lot about community and individual people. I had 6 people in this campaign. And I thought, okay, I can handle more. Went to 9. There was a day and one night that it was at my house, and it was in my basement, where I had 15 people. It wasn't D&D. It was just a party. I didn't mind it, but this campaign this generation I would call the negative generation, because maybe only 2 of the characters that were in that generation stayed. I killed off everyone else. So that one lasted a year and a half. Then I had Gen 6. Gen 6, I don't want to say anything against my players now, but Gen 6 was one of my favorites because it brought in, everybody was a character that I kept. And it was my first time doing an evil campaign. And this generation lasted 2 years. And the only reason why we didn't continue was because everyone just had to go. I was moving out of my parents'. And then when I finally got to where I was almost 3 hours away from everyone. And we were doing it every Friday or Saturday. And it was difficult to try to keep up. We tried to do online, but this person was working full time. I was trying to get through life and that. So we kind of disbanded it, but I kept all the characters. Now we're on Gen 7. We're on Gen 7 now, and it is an amazing group. Quirky, funny, just a hell of a lot of fun to be around. And it's just a great group. And you'll be meeting the group soon. I'll be posting a video about all my characters, including my wife, who is one of my characters, who was part of Generation 5 and 6. And you'll be seeing them. They'll be talking about their characters. I just have to interview 2 more people and get their videos. But, to be honest, 16 years of doing D&D, and I don't feel like I'm ever going to slow down. Because no matter what, I'm going to be playing, going through different generations, and keeping characters. And if you want to know about any characters or anything from, if I name drop, I'll give you backstories about big characters, small characters, and everything. But I hope you guys enjoy. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell icon for more content. And please support, because I have so many stories, and I hope everyone enjoys. Be safe on your journey, and have a wonderful day.
Over the horizon.